We will dive right in, beginning with Republicans now facing a major setback after a Senate official ruled against a series of health care cuts and savings in their sweeping domestic policy bill. The nonpartisan Senate parliamentarian Elizabeth McDonough disqualified several provisions, including one that prohibits federal funding of Medicaid and the Children's Health Insurance Program for adults or kids whose immigration status cannot be immediately verified, as well as changes in how states can tax Medicaid providers. Senate Majority Leader John Thune called the setback a, quote, speed bump, and told reporters that he has contingency plans in place. But Senator Tommy Tuberville of Alabama took a far harsher tone, calling for Thune to fire the parliamentarian ASAP. Others in the Senate called for her to be overruled, which can happen by a simple majority. But Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri threw some cold water on that idea.
Senator, do you think that the parliamentarian should remain in her job? Should you guys try to overrule the parliamentarian?
Oh, I just can't imagine that you'd get people to overrule her. I mean, I just think you get the votes for that. So, I just don't. I mean, I think Thune himself has said he wouldn't vote for that. So, I don't see that happening.
Well, President Trump has urged all congressional Republicans to get behind the so-called One Big Beautiful Bill, warning any members of the GOP from voting against it. During an event at the White House yesterday, Trump said Americans would benefit from the tax cuts in the measure and that the bill would create millions of jobs and grow the economy, while also falsely stating it includes no taxes on Social Security benefits.
This is the ultimate codification of our agenda to, very simply, a phrase that's been used pretty well by me over the last 10 years, but maybe even before that, make America great again. Very simple, make America great again. We don't want to have grandstanders where one or two people raise their vote. We vote no, and they do it to grandstand, that's all. Not good people. They know who I am, who I'm talking about. I call them out. But we don't need grandstanders. We have to get our country back and bring it back strong. And our country is going to be stronger, bigger, better than ever before.
Stronger, bigger, better. One person that I've spoken to Democrats and Republicans about this bill, Gene, who is saying to me, well, one thing that they do think is that the Democrats' chances in the midterms are stronger, bigger and better if this bill passes as it is.
Absolutely. It's not a popular bill. I mean, it's not. There are provisions in this bill for, various groups to hate, for everybody to hate. There's something in there, and
make a bill that big.
Yeah,
there are probably going to be bits that everybody can hate.
This is literally more than a kitchen sink bill. Everything is in there. The entire legislative agenda of this Trump administration is in this one bill, and so of course there are members of the House and members of the Senate who don't like various provisions of this bill, even if and when they corral all the Republicans into supporting some version of this bill with this stripped and that stripped. I think they have a real problem going into the midterms. I really do.
I can't get over a couple things here. One is the process, which is they haven't finished writing this thing and they're going to vote
the
tomorrow.
Clock is ticking, guys.
They're still going to vote on it tomorrow. It's crazy to me that I mean, there's not been a single hearing in the Senate. They don't have a budget analysis. They don't have an analysis of how many people will be impacted by the Medicaid cuts. They don't actually know what's in the bill. They have to rewrite the bill, and they're still going to vote on it tomorrow. I mean, it's madness. Let's just call it what it is. It's total madness. We've never seen anything like this happen before.
What does that mean? If they are actually going to vote on it tomorrow, and it could go to the president's desk.
As of now, they're going to start the first vote tomorrow. As of now, I don't know, maybe not. But the idea is to get to the president's desk by July 4th. That's 7 days. Again, it's crazy. And if it were to happen in the reverse direction, Republicans would rightfully bemoan how absurd this legislative process is. The second thing, which is maybe more substantive, but I also can't get over, is that the cuts to this bill on the Medicaid side specifically, the people that are going to be harmed are actually Republicans and Trump voters in the majority. Now, it's obviously not exclusive of them, but because of the political realignments, we're talking about, rural hospitals. We're talking about MAGA types who depend on Medicaid. Republicans are going to make a huge hit to their own coalition, to their own interests. And you're starting to see some kind of realize this. I mean, Tom Tillis, for instance, the senator from North Carolina who's up this cycle, he's been like, I can't do this until I recognize how bad the hit is going to be in my state on Medicaid, because his people, his voters, his coalition will take the brunt of this. I don't think I've ever really witnessed a party self-sabotage in this type of fashion as the Republicans are doing right now, all because they're extremely worried about offending Donald Trump.
Yeah, I was talking, John, to a former Republican senator just this week who was saying, yeah, but healthcare is never up there in voting issues. You never see it ranking.
What?
It's not an issue. And actually, the argument that the Democrats with him were making is, yeah, but this is not it's not healthcare. This is an affordability issue, and affordability is the issue of the moment. That is what everyone is talking about. And of course, actually, really, healthcare is just affordability under another guise. Do you think it gets to the president's desk by July 4th? Are we taking bets this morning?
I'll take bets.
Hey, look, no one else is here, so we may as well have some fun.
I want the under.
We may as well pay for money.
Sam has the DraftKings app for legislative measures as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a polymarket guy. Come on. Let's get it out
there you go. I mean, the president wants it. I mean, July 4th is a week from today. So that seems, the clock is indeed ticking. But we're going to see a lot of pressure. It's really begun in the last day or so from President Trump to try to push this through by hell or high water. And it's a test. Will Republicans ever stand up to him? And we know if past his prologue, very few ever will. But we're seeing a little bit of dissent right now, at least on the edges. And for more on that, let's bring in NBC News senior national politics reporter Jonathan Allen. John, good to see you this morning. It is striking that Josh Hawley, who is about as MAGA as it comes, first of all, spoke out a few months back about the Medicaid cuts, and then yesterday take a somewhat reasonable tone about the Senate parliamentarian. Like, maybe he doesn't like the ruling, but he's like, well, we have to live with this. That's part of the institution. We don't have the votes to overturn it. So what is your read here in terms of the willingness for Republicans to defy Trump? And what other recourse do they have after this being dealt a significant blow yesterday?
Well, I think the point that Sam makes is the right one, which is that nobody's read the bill yet. And as a result of that, the reason that I say that is that this is now the time for them to fight. Eventually this thing will come to the floor. The odds are that it will pass. Historically, when presidents have their own party in power in the House and Senate, they get the one big thing that they want done passed. So you would have to expect that that's going to happen. So they're fighting about it right now. But you mentioned Josh Hawley, and look, Josh Hawley understands what Tom Tillis from North Carolina understands, which is that MAGA populism isn't taking away, or at least it shouldn't in theory be, taking away health insurance from poor rural people in order to fund tax cuts for the ultra wealthy. And so Trump is trying to get this bill through. There are a lot of different interests. This has been the idea of slashing Medicaid by, as much as $1 trillion in budgets has been something that has been a hobby horse of Russ Vought, the Office of Management and Budget Director, for at least the last 20 years. And so this is an ideological push going on from the White House, hitting right into a realpolitik or practical politics of senators like Hawley and Tillis, who don't want to take benefits away from their own constituents.
One thing that President Trump can do, John Allen, is read polls. And the polls are really bad on this. We've seen a wave of them. First of all, most Americans, frankly, like legislators, don't know what's in the bill just yet. But what they've heard, they don't like. And they particularly worry about these cuts to services, cuts to Medicaid. And so many of them will disproportionately hurt Trump voters. And then President Trump is usually pretty protective of his base. But in this case, he really seems to be favoring the rich who are going to benefit from the tax cuts that are part of this, as opposed to these sort of rank and file Trump voters that are, so many of them live in red districts or rural districts. Are you surprised by, and are Republicans in the building behind you aware that they're staring at a deeply unpopular bill and therefore potentially facing a real blowback at the midterms next year?
Yeah, I think they are. But we've seen this movie before, Jonathan, where there is a president in their first 2 years of their term who is pushing unpopular legislation, and they're asking the members of Congress in their own party to walk the plank on it and to basically put the party goal ahead of their own goal of re-election. Easy to remember the 2010 elections after Obamacare passed and the sort of public backlash to that with the Tea Party. So, I think that this is a dynamic that's well settled. But yes, the people in the building behind me are acutely aware that they are risking certainly their House majority, risking some Senate seats by moving forward with this bill. And at the same time, the vast majority, because of redistricting, because of the way our politics are polarized, the vast majority of people in the building behind me are not actually on the line themselves, which makes it a lot easier to vote for the thing that the president wants.
Yeah, good point there, just about how there are so few competitive seats these days. But we know of a couple senators who are worried. NBC News senior national politics reporter Jonathan Allen. John, thank you so much.